It's sunset on Friday, I'm stuck on the highway, it's been a while. I'm late to the party, you already started the sparkling wine. I need to find a spark to keep me from the dark. I'm looking for a fire start tonight to light me up all around. 'Cause you're the only one I'm thinking of. Don't let me burn to the ground. I wasted time, these city lights, still I can't get you out my mind. I need a fire start tonight. I'm looking for a
The Linux Challenge.
I need a I need a I'm looking for a
Good. Sounds good.
I'm done in the mirror with perfume.
Okay. Looks pretty good. Alright, no background noise. I like it. I like it. Swap our camera there. I wish it would still change the order of my scenes. Maybe I need to change it in the app or something. Change the grid size or something. That works, I guess. Okay, that'll work. All right, so I've been meaning to react to the second LTT video. Or the 2026 challenge. I've been meaning to do it the last few days. However, been busy watching hockey. So yeah. Sorry, my mom's texting me. All right. Yeah, I've been meaning to react to the second LTT video for the last few days. Given that I did the first one and then realized when I got on today that he had done a third video. So we'll have that third one up here within the next couple of days or so as well. But for right now, let's go ahead and get the second one going. So this one, my Linux curse is not over, but it's getting better. That's good. I'm glad it's getting a little bit better for Linus. He poor guy had some terrible issues that first time, but the first video, it did seem like he was doing a little bit better. So let's see how it goes.
2026 edition was supposed to be a 3-part series.
The setup, a task-off challenge episode testing day-to-day usability, and a conclusion.
But then the first week was full of so many unexpected highs and lows.
We knew there had to be another video, especially after the Linux community exploded after I picked Pop! OS again.
And while Luke and I seem to have been praised for our choices, I can tell you guys firsthand that it has not been a smooth ride for me.
Meanwhile, things were going so great for me, I decided to dip my toes even further, attempting some more complex tasks that I didn't expect to go super well, just to see what would happen.
And I ended up trying some other distros which addressed some of my issues with Pop! OS, but also ended up being frustrating in their own ways.
Yeah. So Linus trying the different distros and everything. One thing you'll learn as you get deeper into Linux, especially desktop Linux, is that distro is more so just a starting point. There isn't really that much difference one distro to the next outside of like update cadence, packaging the software, what package manager it uses. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty similar across the board for the most part. I'd say probably like 95% of the distros out there are going to be about the same.
I feel like I've got to start this by explaining my brain-dead choice of Pop! OS. It was amazing how many people got angry at me for picking the same distro that screwed me over last time. But if you guys remember, I actually used Manjaro last time after I was assured that the bug that I encountered when I was setting up Pop! OS was a one-time fluke, and then I got piled on for being so quick to abandon it. So this is me putting aside my past experience after seeing so many people, listicles, and chatbots that still recommend it. That willingness to try again is a good thing for Linux. I mean, if everybody bailed after one bad experience, there would be no distros left to try. Nothing is perfect, and unfortunately,
That is true. Nothing is perfect. And however, with his Pop! OS experience the last time, I mean, it was a very, very weird thing. Pop! OS now is still a fine distro. There's tons of people out there that still use it. The only, I guess, small issue with Pop! OS now is that the desktop environment is in beta. So you're going to run into some quirks, some kinks, some weirdness when it comes to the desktop environment, but under the hood, everything should still be fine. Like, Pop! OS is still built off of Ubuntu LTS, and it should still work pretty good for most everything else.
that goes especially for Pop! OS. System 76 has spent the last couple of years hard at work on a new desktop environment, Cosmic, and it's been a challenge.
Linus, Cosmic is basically in beta. Don't you know that it's not ready yet?
No, I didn't. For one thing, where does it say that? The thing that I downloaded was called LTS, or long-term support. That's like the opposite of beta. I would have had to journey to a random blog post from back in September of 2025.
So it's called LTS because, like, this version of Pop! OS he installed, if he would have waited like another month, the 2604 would probably be out. Because it's built off of 2404 Ubuntu LTS. That's why they name it this way. I wish they would do it a little different, but that's the way System 76 lists it, so that's the way it is. Yeah, but I mean, if he didn't know it was in beta, I mean, that's, kind of an issue. Like, they should put that more out on the front. I think it's still, I can't remember offhand if they've quote unquote released it yet, or if it's still technically in beta or not. But either way, they're still working at the kinks.
To discover that Cosmic is now in public beta. Number two, maybe this is a hot take, but maybe if System 76, a commercial entity, not a random open source contributor, knows that it's not ready for prime time, instead of blaming me, we should probably blame the company that shipped it. And you know what? Yeah, I could have come across some of the Linux YouTube channels that have highlighted these issues. But a key element of the Linux challenge is highlighting that unless you know to ask the question, is this distro's desktop environment in beta? It can be hard for new Penguin curious users to find the right answers. So as we keep going, it's important to think of the Linux challenge not as an attack on Linux, but as more of a pen test for how friendly it is to newbies.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily a pen test, but more so just a test in general. You're not diving into anything security related, so it's not a pen test. However, I mean, he's partially right when it comes to the desktop environments. However, 99% of the desktops out there, like, KDE, XFCE, all of them, none of them are in beta. They all work great. If you like their layouts and their workflow and everything, like, they're all great. Cinnamon's another one that works great. And then there's even a ton of, tiling window managers and scrolling window managers and stuff that you can use once you become, if you like that workflow and you become more adept at Linux and all that kind of stuff. But it was just bad luck that he happened to choose the one that's, still working out some kinks.
My Bazite adventures started a bit better than Linus at first. But if you remember in part 1, I mounted my SMB share.
Yep.
I was shocked at how easy it was to find. Because normally on Windows, I would have to type in the address bar and find it. Versus on Bazite, I just clicked on network and it found it right away. But I didn't realize that that wasn't mounting it. That was just creating a shortcut. This means my read and write permissions were all over the place, and I couldn't save some files to my network drive if I clicked on that shortcut. To solve this, I had to do some Googling, and I found out that I needed to modify my fstab file to point the network location to the MNT folder on my drive. So I did that, but then I noticed that I had two, both of which were still behaving like a shortcut. I tried at least a dozen different options in order to mount the share correctly, none of which ultimately succeeded, or should have even been necessary if you ask me. Opening context menus on icons, shortcuts, or applications is a great tool, and it seems like a big oversight on the Bazite team to not include a quick mount option that just works. Instead, I want to fstab myself in the head.
Meanwhile, I was having
So the fstab file, or fstab, or there's a few different people pronunciation, do it weird for it and whatnot. But yeah, I can see how that would be irking, I guess you could say. I don't really use network drives like that. I have a Nextcloud server that I use, but I connect to it via the web, so I don't worry about any of that kind of stuff. I mean, he has valid criticisms of it for sure. I haven't used Bazite personally myself, but I mean, I've heard plenty of good things about it, so I think that might just be like some little quirks kind of things that he's having with it. But let's see how Luke's doing with Kashi.
a grand old time on Kashi, and since I felt more comfortable than the other two guys, I decided to get a little bit daring. I uninstalled my entire Cinnamon desktop environment on purpose to see if I would run into any challenges. It took about 20 minutes max before I was up and running with KDE Plasma, and my only issue was that I had to...
So Plasma is a solid desktop, as you can see from the layout here. It's not quite, but it's very Windows-esque, and there's a lot of people that have, made themes and stuff and icons, packs, and everything to make it look almost identical to Windows. I mean, you can do that with a lot of the different desktops, but quote-unquote out of the box, Plasma has a very similar type workflow to Windows to an extent. There's way more customization and stuff you can do. However, like if you just want to boot it up and get going out of the box, it's a great desktop. I used it for a while.
Clean up some small things left over from Cinnamon, like an additional sound icon that was in the bottom tray, because I had two sound icons and they could conflict and stuff, and that was honestly also really easy to do, so no big deal. As for my gaming adventures, my first real challenge in this Linux challenge was probably my own fault. I had read some stuff online saying that I could do it, but I think I was trying to be a little bit more optimistic than realistic. I had a Windows game drive previously that I just kind of left alone and tried to use on Linux, which means that it was formatted in NTFS. I just added it to my Steam library in Linux and tried to go. All my games showed up perfect and everything seemed fine at first. Some games even ran okay, but I started to notice some glitches, and even some games that I had freshly installed on that drive just wouldn't work. It would just, you click play and it just wouldn't launch sometimes. It turns out that while Linux can still use NTFS, and there's been some ongoing development to make it even smoother, even since we started this challenge, I can say in my experience, it was kind of rough, especially when used with Proton. Proton doesn't seem to like it, so in my opinion, if you want to play games off of an NTFS drive, just don't, at least not right now.
Yeah, I agree. So the ironic thing is that NTFS stands for New Technology File System when it's been out for like 30 years now, or 20 some odd years, give or take. But yeah, he's absolutely right. If you have your NTFS drive and you maybe don't want to delete all of the games, maybe you're dual booting Linux and Windows or something like that, or Mac, I would recommend, instead of trying to use an NTFS drive, either getting a new drive or partitioning that drive into like an ext4, and making an ext4 partition, or like XFS or Btrfs or something like that. Linux is going to handle it much better. While, like you said, it is getting better for NTFS, but you're going to run into all kinds of quirks and stuff with it. Yeah. If you're 100% on Linux, format the drive, get rid of NTFS, use ext4 or XFS or Btrfs or one of those.
My gaming experiences were mostly smooth, with 2 major exceptions though. One of which I'm actually gonna save for the conclusion because it's kind of a spicy one, so make sure you get subscribed for that. But the other was actually the first game that I tried to fully play on Linux, Poppy Playtime Chapter 5. I wanted to stream it, but I was getting no audio and no picture, which is not ideal for a stream. Oh no, are we not gonna be able to play? But then it suddenly just popped in and started working fine. I played it for a little while, and then the same thing happened again.
Look, all the friends are here. Isn't this amazing? Oh.
Well, it turns out that the pre-rendered cutscenes weren't working. Proton, which is the compatibility layer that allows non-native Linux titles to work on Linux, is missing proprietary licenses for H.264 and H.265 video codecs.
Yep.
What was the solution? A community fork called Proton GE, which thankfully was in the Bazite store. That's a pretty simple fix, but it's...
So Proton GE is great. There's also, I know Luke's on the on CachyOS. There's also a CachyOS custom Proton as well. I love Proton GE. It's made by Glorious Eggroll, the guy who started and runs Nobara Linux. And he does a fantastic job with Proton GE. If out of the box, whatever game you're trying to run is not working with either like Proton Experimental or whatever the stable one is in Steam at that time, I highly recommend using Proton GE or Proton Cachy. They both work great. Sometimes you can try them and they might even give you a little bit of a performance increase. But or sometimes, like they were saying with the proprietary codecs and stuff, you know, it's kind of hit or miss. It's a lot of trial and error. See what works. Use Proton DB like I showed in the last one to see what people are doing. That's the best bet.
Also one that highlights how unrealistic some Linux evangelists can be about the experience. No, in many cases, it doesn't just work out of the box, and users who don't treat fixing their operating system as a hobby will be looking for someone to blame for this hassle. So is it Linux? Valve? Mob Entertainment? The user? Maybe all? Or, hear me out, none? It's easy to jump on the blame bandwagon and hate on some developers for not prioritizing Linux, but ask yourself this: if 50% of your customers were on Windows and the other 48% are on Xbox and PlayStation, would you be stoked on hiring a 4th group of employees whose job it is to deal with the other 2%, especially knowing that those 2% are not running one OS, but are probably running different flavors of OS? I mean, maybe you would, but it's more...
Yeah, from a business point of view, that's not a good business practice generally, unless they're going to gain something very specifically off of it. That's why Valve started doing Proton in the first place, so that way things can run on Linux better. It's not, like he's saying, it's not certain cases it's the developer's fault. But yeah, in this case, it's definitely not. It's not even really the user's fault. But I'm glad that he's, you know, having some success, you know, being able to find, you know, the custom Protons and things like that.
Important to remember that just like the users, many companies don't treat fixing operating systems like a hobby. Okay, so then we blame Valve. No, obviously not. It's super cool that they have put so much support into Proton, but the fact that they've paid so much already is not a good argument that they should just obviously pay even more for these commercial video codecs. The point I'm trying to make here is that enjoying the Linux experience requires a no-blame mindset. Some stuff's gonna work, and some stuff won't. It's not anybody's fault. Everyone is doing their best.
So with that in mind, throw out what I said earlier, because I'm not mad at System 76. In fact, I left Pop! OS on my main desktop just for the lulz, and it mostly worked for most things. With that said, when it came time to install Linux on my other systems, I did opt for something different, starting with Bazite on my home theater PC. It's just too bad the Linux curse followed me there as well. Bazite has different versions of their installer, depending on the brand of your GPU and whether or not you want the SteamOS full screen experience.
Yep, that is correct. On their website, I believe I showed this in the last reaction too, when Elijah was talking about Bazite. You go to Bazite's website, if that's the one you decide to go with. You can choose desktop, you know, which GPU vendor you have, which desktop environment you want, and then if you want the Steam gaming mode, which if you have a Steam Deck or you've seen the Steam Deck interface where it's like the big thing and you can use the controller primarily, that's what it means by Steam gaming mode. Like out of the box, like that's what it's going to launch into.
Well, I've got an NVIDIA GPU, and yeah, I want that experience. That's kind of the point of it on a home theater PC. So I picked this one. And let's put it this way. The Bazzite team feels that I should have known the one that I selected would result in a completely unusable experience.
Wait, what did it say? How did Linus manage to break Bazzite? It seems he installed the game mode version. Okay. So, I mean, if they have the... I mean, yeah, I get his point, but I also get their point. Like, they have a thing saying that, hey, it's in beta right now for NVIDIA. Yeah, another point to use to really go for AMD, but there is a side to it where if somebody has specific hardware and they're wanting to use it, you know, it needs to get to a point where it should, but that's where especially Linus Torvalds has been irked with NVIDIA in the past. Like, he's got that famous clip telling NVIDIA to fuck off. But at the same time, like, yeah, for average Joe user that wants to use it, you know, I definitely get his
But to me, that's actually not that obvious. Coming from the Windows, Google, normie world, where a stable service like Gmail was labeled beta for 5 years, it's not that unreasonable to think that you can daily drive a beta and have a mostly functioning experience. In Linux, that's an expectation that needs to be completely thrown out the window. Here, beta seems to mean this is broken, and if you're not a developer, you should probably just download the LTS, which might also be beta.
No, an LTS is never going to be beta. He's just kind of misinformed on the way they labeled it. They just call it LTS because it's built off of Ubuntu LTS. But it's neither here nor there. Like, he's just kind of pulling at strings now, in my opinion.
Clearly, we've got to reach a middle ground here, and Bazzite seems to agree because they have updated the messaging on their site. Anyway, that happened later, so to get my system up and running, I ended up doing what many Linux people do and switching to a Radeon card, which was completely painless.
Why run Bazzite when I could just run SteamOS on the Steam machine that we built on this channel like a couple months ago? I can't believe I forgot about this thing. I've been meaning to install it.
I actually ended up throwing SteamOS on my home theater PC.
Nice. Okay, is it a bit of a hack to just switch out your hardware? Yes, but also no, because a lot of Linux gamers would go out of their way to choose compatible hardware in the first place. So I'm pretending I did that. First, I want to see how well...
So yeah, compatible hardware is a huge thing, number one. Number two, I will say, I can't remember if that's an actual Steam machine or if it's one that they just kind of put together. Valve has, like, specifically states on the SteamOS site that it's only tested and workable on Steam hardware. So if he has issues, which he has in the past when he's tried to run SteamOS, that's on him. That's not on anybody else.
Well, this integrates with my system here. Let's hit power toggle for the PC. No way. Did Valve seriously bake in support for this old Microsoft IR receiver?
Which was child's play to get working, and it's been kind of awesome from the couch. Nothing further to report there. As for my laptop, I decided it was finally time to practice what I preach and go for good old-fashioned, trustworthy Ubuntu. Sort of. Kubuntu is actually Ubuntu, but with the KDE desktop environment, which I find quite...
Yep, so just like he said, Kubuntu is literally Ubuntu, but using the KDE desktop. Regular, or vanilla GNOME as people will call it, or vanilla Ubuntu, ships with GNOME, excuse me. Kubuntu is the exact same system under the hood, but ships with KDE Plasma as the desktop instead. There's other flavors too, like there's an Ubuntu Cinnamon, there's Xubuntu, which is Ubuntu with the XFCE desktop, Ubuntu Budgie, a bunch of different ones too.
Comfortable to navigate, sort of. I mean, first I have to get to the desktop, and day one was kind of terrible. After completing setup, it just black screened, and it sat there for hours. And I was like, come on, man, this is ridiculous. Then I came down in the morning, and it was like Santa had visited, because it was magically sitting at the login screen, and it's been downright pretty solid ever since, with a bit of a learning curve. For example, I did run into issues getting some applications to work due to downloading the wrong package. Debian packages, snap packages, and Flatpaks will
Yeah, so that's one of the big issues when it comes to Ubuntu in general. They're very hard pushing snaps right now, which is like their own proprietary version of packaging the software. A lot of people are very peeved by it. I'll just say that. A lot of people have went away from Ubuntu and Ubuntu-based distros because of that, or like Ubuntu flavors more so, because specifically of snaps. However, if you don't have a problem with snaps, Ubuntu's fine. Kubuntu is fine. Like it's really not that big of a deal. The only issue with snap packages is that sometimes there's a bit of a performance hiccup, which I mean is the same with Flatpak. You get like a little bit of performance hiccup sometimes because they're supposed to be like universal packages, like they can run on any Linux system, not specifically like APT. APT is Debian based systems, which is Debian. You got like MX Linux, Ubuntu, Linux Mint, etc., etc. So there's going to be a little bit of a hiccup when it comes to performance, but still, for most everybody, it's not that big of a deal.
will all work on Kubuntu. But I figured, okay, well, Debian makes the most sense since Kubuntu is based on Debian. But then after I installed OBS, I realized I had no option to select the display that I wanted to screen capture. The solution? Use the Flatpak installer, apparently. Okay, but where? The top result, as far as I can tell, doesn't convey that it's a Flatpak. Oh, right! I need to enable Flatpak search. Except that wasn't the solution either, because Wayland, which Kubuntu uses as part of its desktop environment, has a privacy thing built in that no-likey screen capture. Now, it can be worked around, but threads like this one are a great example of how troubleshooting can often be a guess and check experience, because there are like 5 different solutions in here, and I actually can no longer remember which one worked. Of course, though, it's important to point out that every problem that we're having with Linux can also be a problem with Windows.
But the fact that microswap is also bad doesn't mean that we shouldn't be honest about issues or like level of tinkering required with Linux.
Yeah, you should 100%, because if you're having the issue, there's a chance that another user is going to have the issue. Even so, like, it might not be the exact same hardware, the exact same experience, etc. There is the chance that somebody else could have that issue as well.
Laptop, for example, running Mint and a very simple use case of basically just loading a browser hasn't required any tinkering this whole time and hasn't really had any problems. My desktop running CachyOS, I've intentionally tried to like put myself in harm's way and ran into some really complex scenarios that have been fun to diagnose and work through. But there are things that are quite simple on Windows and very easy to do that are more complicated on Linux. And that's okay. But trying to hide that fact in order to recruit more Windows users to join the community, I think does more harm than good, especially when they are, unfortunately, fairly often met with hostility from the community when they then run into these problems and are unequipped to deal with them. I think there are some obviously extremely bright lights in the Linux community that bring a lot of hope and joy and fun to the whole experience of learning Linux, but there is a lot of negative communication on forums, on Reddit, elsewhere. It's very off-putting for new Linux community members, which we're going to be seeing a lot more of soon, to receive that type of energy. The biggest thing that didn't work for me was just software compatibility. But with some time and effort, I did manage to find either an alternative way to get the Windows native version working for my admittedly somewhat basic software suite.
I did it.
Yeah, so to comment on what Luke was saying, he's exactly right. Software compatibility is a big thing. Like, for example, a buddy of mine only uses specific software and plays games that only will run on Windows. Now, would it be smart for him to switch to Linux? No, it would not. However, if there is software that runs on Linux or software alternatives that that person is okay using, then yeah, they should be fine on Linux. But there is going to be some level of tinkering And there is both pros and cons with both Linux and Microsoft Windows. Because like one of the big issues we always had on Windows was with drivers. Drivers were always a pain, especially when it comes to like printers. There's like a bajillion different printers out there. Anybody that's ever worked in IT, they know for sure when it comes to printer drivers and stuff, like they suck so bad. So yeah, there is pros and cons on both sides. Like there's some software compatibility, but there's also some issues when it comes to on the Windows side too.
I use Adobe Premiere for editing, and one of the many fun ways that Adobe is kinda ass is that it just doesn't work on Linux. Now, I tried messing around with Bottles a bit, which allows you to run Windows software on Linux, but that was obviously still a no-go, which then sent me looking for alternatives. DaVinci Resolve has a Linux build, though it's only officially supported on Rocky Linux of all things.
Yeah, DaVinci is great. There is a number of people that have worked on scripts and have done a lot of stuff to get DaVinci Resolve working on other distros that aren't technically supported. Like it says here, it's only supported on Rocky and CentOS, which is based off of Red Hat, which is in the Fedora ecosystem and Red Hat ecosystem and stuff. So there's a lot of great. There's even FOSS versions of it, like Kdenlive, Shotcut, things like that.
Still, Rocky Linux is a lot closer to Bazzite than Windows is, so maybe? And yeah, after 2 hours of trying, I got her up and running, but not the way I thought. See, I just tried installing it like a Windows application. Download and run. But Bazzite, as I learned, is an immutable operating system, similar to SteamOS. This means core operating system files and permissions are locked down in such a way that the user either can't screw them up, or they can, but then they'll reset themselves after a reboot. Unfortunately, this same lockdown applies to some software installers, which then means that they can't alter the files that they need to. The solution was for me to beat my head against a wall, until I found this 6-minute video about a simple command to run. Hey, software installed. But then I ran into the same problem as Poppy.
Codecs. It's going to be codecs. I guarantee you. That's the big issue with DaVinci Resolve on Linux is codecs.
Playtime. Depending on the file that I was trying to play or export, it wouldn't work. Frickin' curse you, video codecs.
Yep.
So I then tried Kdenlive, which is fine for basic editing, but if I want to be a power user, it's just not quite there yet. And for stills, neither is GIMP. You know what? I'm gonna be the one to say it. GIMP sucks. With that said,
I don't mind GIMP. A good alternative if you're not a big fan of GIMP would be Inkscape. Inkscape is a good one. Kdenlive is fine. Like he said, you know, there is different things that you can install to make it better. I'm not, even when I used to use Windows back in the day, I was never a fan of Adobe products, with the exception of like Adobe Reader, but that's just me. Everybody's got their own thing. You know, use what you like.
I still want to emphasize the gratitude that I feel, and you, Elijah, I know you feel it too, toward the open source community. Whether it's applications, or drivers, or Linux in general. The fact that people are stepping up against the corporate overlords who are limiting our choices, feasting on our wallets, and then spying on us for good measure is amazing, and it's admirable. However, context matters. And when we're evaluating...
I noticed the monitor flickering back there. Yeah, I'm guessing it has something to do with sleep and probably Cosmic Desktop would be my guess. So yes, related to Pop! OS, but not 100%, because you can use the Cosmic Desktop on whatever distro you want as long as they have it in the repos. You can download it. Like I use OpenSUSE. I've tried Cosmic on OpenSUSE before. Like it doesn't have to necessarily just be Pop! OS.
Evaluating the experience of switching to Linux, we're doing so from a user perspective, and so we do have to point out things that might not be ideal. Just try to understand that it comes from a place of love and appreciation, not from a place of hate. Everybody involved in the Linux challenge today is rooting for Linux to succeed. And it's actually been really exciting to see so many social media posts of people who have joined the challenge alongside us, even though we didn't ask anybody to. But as exciting as all of that is, part of succeeding in this is taking off the blinders and being honest about the areas where things need to improve. And it's actually been pretty cool to see that some of our observations are already resulting in clearer documentation that's going to help pave the path for future users. Now, I know we're releasing part 2, like, way past the 1 month point already. Elijah was busy fixing our environmental chamber, among other things, but we do still have more videos lined up for the series, and as you guys can see, even though we're past the month, there will be some surprises in the future parts. Part 3 is going to have us do some fun challenges, and then part 4 is going to be the conclusion, where we sit down on the couch together and talk about our final thoughts. If you guys enjoyed this video, go...
Okay, so yeah, going back to what he was saying at the end, yeah, as long as, and people generally can tell, as long as you're coming at it from a constructive criticism standpoint and not just doing, you know, bashing it just to bash it, as long as you're talking about it in a sense of trying to help, most people are going to be okay with that. And even like he referenced, the Bazite devs, you know, fixed the documentation a little bit better so that way more people could understand it, like he was saying. So there's, as long as you're genuine, people are generally going to be okay with stuff as long as you're criticizing constructively. But either way, that was good. I'm glad they're continuing on. And of course, they got the number 3 one right here. I'll do that one in a few more days. But do all the YouTube stuff down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time. All right. Now, let's get into some Doom. I meant to do that one a few days ago, but I never got around to it. Let's play some Doom. God, I wish I could have my fan on. Thought I had water up here, but I guess not. Play Doom Eternal. I need to swap to that one, because Doom has stuff at the bottom left. Probably do a couple missions. We'll see. We'll see how much I do. I can't remember how. I think I made it 2 or 3 missions in the last time. Can't remember exactly. Yeah, 525. That was what, 3 days ago? Yeah, it's been a couple days since I've played, but. Oh, cutscene.
You can now find the remaining Hell Priests by activating your Celestial Locator. The second Hell Priest is located in the northern region of Earth. I will calibrate the portal now.
Oh, hello.
The hub has several areas locked off due to power
interesting.
constraints. Once power has been restored, you will be able to access the entire ship.
Alright, so we gotta do some stuff to our ship, it looks like. Sentinel batteries. Insert Sentinel batteries into sockets within the Fortress of Doom to unlock items and power up parts of the fortress. Sentinel batteries can be found in missions or earned by completing all 3 of the mission challenges. Okay.
Sentinel energy levels rising, re-establishing power to core and supplementary systems.
Alright, what do we got over here? The ice bomb. Press G to swap back. Okay, cool.
The ice bomb modification to your equipment launcher has been completed. Once fired, the bomb will douse nearby enemies in freezing gases. You'll have to manually toggle the launcher to fire either ice bombs or frag grenades.
Okay, I can swap it back and forth. Now where am I supposed to go? Back over here, I guess? Let's just go down below somewhere? I guess so. How do I get down there? How do I get down below? Ah, maybe go down the stairs. Wait, what? What? I gotta keep going down? Oh, crap. I didn't realize it was this big. I've never been down here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd never been down here. Visit the demon prison. The demon prison allows you to practice fighting demons without dying. Okay, so it's like a battle simulator. Exit through the portal and finish. Okay. So do I need to actually do this or what? Like a good warm-up. I guess it said that more scenarios will populate as I get further into the story. Oh. Alright, feeling pretty good. How do I get out of here? Go play some missions. It's not about go through the portal. What portal? That's not a portal. Where's the frickin' portal? Oh, okay. So I had to actually kill all of them this time. Okay. Let's head back down here. Acquire a Praetor suit point. Oh. Spend Praetor suit points to purchase Praetor suit perks. Praetor suit perks enhance your abilities or unlock new abilities. Pretty sure I've already unlocked some on this one. Okay, maybe I haven't. Okay, so each one has like a different like cost and stuff. Faster ledge grab. Rad suit takes less damage from toxic sludge and water. Oh, progression item. That's kind of cool. Still feel like the faster ledge grab would be good though. Review your health, armor, ammo capacities, bonus upgrades to plan. Okay, yeah. How do I get back? My runes. I only have one rune so far, right? Yeah, pretty sure I only have one rune so far. I can't. Oh, Sentinel crystals. Yeah. I don't have any of that other stuff yet. Alright, let's keep going. Alright. Let's go see if we find us a tech priest. Hell Priest. Or, not a Tech Priest. That's Warhammer. The Cultist Base. Mission challenges. Completing 1 awards a Praetor suit. Completing all gives a Sentinel battery. Ooh. Supposed to go the Codex. Codex page. Alright, so how do I get over there? Ah, there's a spot for me to grab. Oh, I'm already full. Okay, I was like, why am I not picking up the armor? Alright, now I gotta get way the fuck over there. Don't know what that is. Nope, didn't make it. Alright, so how am I supposed to get over there? Maybe that way? Yep. This is what I thought. So I can't go down anymore. Ow! Didn't quite make it. Yeah, that's gotta be the way to get up there. Maybe I need to get up as high as I can. There we go. Get me back up there. I loved in the first game the rocket launcher, like, lock-on thing. That was so cool.
The Hell Priest is somewhere in this facility. I cannot pinpoint his exact location at this time.
That's nifty. Supposed to go this way? Doesn't look like it. Or maybe I have to open up something first? I hate puzzles. Aha. Yeah, I'm not a giant fan of puzzles in games.
Welcome, Slayer. Is my time at the end? Let's see if you're strong enough to survive this cursed city.
This motherfucker won't know.
The Slayer has arrived. All mortally challenged personnel, please be advised.
Phoebus. Uses a flamethrower when close. Arm cannons are the weak points. Okay. Shit, there's fucking 3 of them? Damn it. Ah. For the extra life, I forgot about that. Whew. How do I get there? Ah, got here. Here. Raider token. Okay. So I need to jump, shoot it, and then jump down there, it looks like. There we go. I definitely need it. What the hell? What killed me? I mean, I was already super low on life. No, wrong button. Give me the armor. I always forget I always have so much more crap than what you think. Weapon point. Okay, so maybe I do need to get up there. Oops. Oh. One second. Alright. Sorry about that. thing that always puts me with these games is running out of ammo so fast. Where am I going? Oh, over here. Energy shields. Ah, plasma rifle can destroy energy shields. Okay. Alright, I need ammo badly. I need to get in here. Guess I have to go this way. Yep. Of course I fell. I'm not good at jump puzzles. Okay. I see what I gotta do. Okay, I see what I gotta do. Rocket launcher! God damn. Yeah, I'm not really liking that layout there. Let's walk that back. Why is it on 4? I said 3. Okay, that's much better. God, there's some of these dudes too? Holy shit. Ridiculous. Holy crap. Shit, I brought it once. Alright guys, I gotta hop. That was fun. I'll finish it later. I gotta go help the wifey with something. But I will be back, hopefully tomorrow night. We'll see you then. Peace.